BMW has really come good with the M240i, a cracker of a performance coupe that packs a 374 horsepower punch, looks the part and gains XDrive four-wheel drive in this smarter second generation form. With this one, the game just changed for the better.
Power output is taking a big step forward here over the previous generation version, up to 374 horsepower, which is just as well because curb weight is up too by a rather chunky 205 kilos. That's mainly because XDrive four-wheel drive is now a non-negotiable part of this model's rather addictive recipe. If you're one of those people who remember heart palpitations on damp corners in the previous 6-cylinder 2 Series Coupe, you'd be inclined to take the hit on that, and sure enough, this G42 model feels immeasurably better rooted to the tarmac. The instant the rear slip's detected, the electronically controlled multi-plate clutch pack simply pushes drive forwards, which gives you much more confidence to press on, even in the kind of less clement conditions which, with the previous F22 series design, might have left you tempted to leave the car in the garage. And press on this M240i certainly does. The straight six flares with 500 newton meters of torque, and the 62 miles an hour sprint is dispatched in just 4.3 seconds en route to a governed top speed of 155 miles an hour. Those are stats which are basically the same as those which were offered by the old F87 series M2 at its original launch back in 2015. At the time of filming, the replacement for that car was in final testing, but from the same 3-litre lump, we expect another 70 horsepower, along with the enthusiast-orientated options of manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. For most people, most of the time though, an M240i would be just as fast and pretty much as involving, provided you specify it properly. An M Sport rear differential is standard fit on this Junior M variant. It maximises traction and works with the DSC system to transfer torque between the two rear wheels as you turn. Now, unfortunately, the M adaptive suspension package that you're going to want on this car still isn't standard. It is recognisably a 2 Series Coupe, but this time a slightly larger and certainly more modern looking one. There's no convertible body style option this time around, and the coupe we're left with is now a meaner, more aggressive looking thing. You wouldn't call it pretty, but equally you wouldn't mistake it for anything else. Defiantly niche is the phrase BMW uses. At the wheel here, you certainly now feel like you're in a more sophisticated and upmarket car, and in some ways you are, because compared to a 4 Series model, the cabin architecture is almost identical. Only the door cards are actually bespoke to this design, but the standardised live cockpit professional package that you get here will still seem like quite a step up for customers graduating on from the previous F22 series design. A 12.3-inch monitor replaces the previous model's analog dials in the instrument cluster, and a bigger 10.25-inch centre dash iDrive infotainment display is now much better integrated into the centre of the fascia. Time to take a look in the rear. Well, once inside, there's far more room than you'd have any right to expect from anything calling itself a coupe. BMW obviously thinks that real people are going to regularly sit back here because it's rather curiously standardised 3-zone climate control across the range, and that means that you get these digital temperature gauges here between the twin central vents. Finally, let's take a look in the boot. BMW hasn't bothered with pointless electrical operation for this lid, and it rises to reveal a 390-litre capacity, which is the same as that of the previous generation model. Instead of the ski hatch, which was provided on the previous generation model, there's now a more flexible 40-20-40 split for the rear backrest, so long items like skis can be pushed forward into the cabin between a couple of rear-seated occupants. Lots of ways then that you can practically justify what is essentially a deliciously selfish sports car. We don't think this is too bold a prediction, but this second generation BMW M240i looks set to become one of the most well-regarded BMW sporting models of recent times. Put simply, it barely puts a foot wrong. The price is right, it's crushingly quick, it's reasonably efficient, and it looks, well, it's good looking enough that you won't need to make apologies for it when it's standing on your driveway. Most importantly though, BMW has managed to combine those talents and pitch the car right into a sweet spot in the market where few key direct rivals exist. If you gave any BMW fan a wish list and asked them to build the perfect car, given the company's current resources, it probably wouldn't be too far off this one. Maybe a few grand cheaper, but hey, you can't have everything. Even as it stands, this is the performance coupe that many prospective BMW M2 competition customers should really choose, but probably won't. You now know better.